Greetings, everyone. It is the TonicMan once again, and I have to talk really fast tonight because we have a big show. Remember how Ed Sullivan used to say, we have a really big show tonight. Most of you do not remember or never knew who Ed Sullivan was, but I do because I'm an old guy. Yes, sirree. I was born in 1937, and what you are going to hear tonight is really what a youth solution is. Everyone who drinks this is getting younger and younger. And guess what? When they get younger, their body regenerates. It goes backwards to a time when they did not have any health issues. So the health issues start to disappear. And you know that the body is capable of magic. It's just we have to give it a little TLC, which we do not do, particularly in the good old US of A. And Canada pretty much is going the same way, and the rest of the world. Just talk to your friends around the globe. Everyone is complaining of some kind of illness. And that's because body parts are now starting to work on 7 cylinders or even 6 instead of 8. And that's because our bodies are getting clogged up with junk and debris and garbage, and they just start to work less and less. What the JC Tonic, this youth solution, does is it begins the process of regenerating the body through the cleaning up of the bloodstream and the oxygenation. There is a great booklet my father wrote in the 1940s when he started to commercialize this preparation for the first time. And it's called What It Is, What It Does. You can get it by ordering it, or you can read it free of charge on the website. So go, have a look under product, look up under What It Is, What It Does. Guess what, folks? He wrote this, maybe 1945 or thereabouts, and it basically is word for word what he wrote, except we cleaned up some of the parts that regulatory changes over the decades. But other than that, it's there for you to read. Guess what it's all about? Yes, it's all about the blood. So let me not tarry because we have a really loaded call. We have an incredible guest who has story after story after story. You, your loved ones, your family will all identify with something. All your friends who are complaining of something probably will be covered in this call. So let's not wait a second longer, and let me call our guest to the call right now. Marcia, take it away.
I guess my story started because I just went for a basic colonoscopy at the beginning of this year and didn't think anything of it. Wasn't feeling bad, but I could tell you that my job was very stressful and I lived on caffeine and energy drinks and everything. I constantly on stuff like that.
And how old are you? How old are you?
I'm 52.
52
years old. Mhm.
Yeah, so you're still a young'un.
I don't feel always like a youngin, but now I do. I feel, there's so many things that the tonic has changed for me and my family. And the thing is when I started this whole journey and I came back with a cancer diagnosis, I wasn't too worried because I had dealt with breast cancer 12 years ago. And, cancer really doesn't run in my family. My breast cancer was environmental.
And did you get through that okay, the breast cancer?
Yeah, I got through my breast cancer and didn't have any problems at all. So when this one came up, I'm like, okay, I'll get through this. I'll be fine. But after I had my surgery, I ended up 5 days later, right before I was going to be released from the hospital, I had a rupture, and I had to be put back into surgery immediately. I had an obstruction is what I had. So I ended up with an ostomy bag.
Was the cancer still inside, or had it broken through, or how?
Well, they were trying to determine that because they removed.
Well, did they
part
remove
of my
a piece of the? Did they remove any
yes.
colon or not? They did.
Yes, they removed a piece of my colon, but then the second surgery done 5 days later was to put in a reroute and give me an ostomy bag. While I was in the hospital, they did come back and they did tell me that I did have cancer and I was going to have chemo. So I was like, okay. But the second surgery caused me to have an incision from above the belly button all the way down my abdomen.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm not diabetic or anything, and the wound would not heal. And at first, my colon specialist was like, no, I can't refer you to an oncologist until you're healed. And by June, because I had my surgery at the end of April, by June, I just kept bugging her. I'm like, I have cancer. I need to talk to an oncologist. Even though if he's not going to let me start chemo or whatever, I need answers. So she finally let me she referred me to an oncologist of my choice. And I'm over here thinking I'm stage 1 because the way that she had explained it to me, my first colon and rectal doctor wasn't very, didn't have a great bedside manner, didn't have very good communication skills with her patients. So I guess that's why I thought I was stage 1, like with my breast cancer. So when my daughter and I made our way to San Antonio, which is about 2.5 hours from where I live, we were dumbfounded when the doctor's like, okay, so I'm seeing your diagnosis. It looks like you're stage 3. And my daughter and I looked at each other and we were like, what? And he told me, well, you have a tumor and you are stage 3 colon cancer. So I was like, oh my gosh. I said, I've been thinking I was stage 1. And he's all like, well, why did you think that? And I explained to him what the doctor told me. And he goes, well, she was more technical, but those numbers she gave you does mean it's stage 3.
What is stage 1 and stage 3? And what exactly is that? Do you know?
Stage 3 means that it has broken through the colon and has gone into
outside the colon.
Outside the colon, correct. So
and stage 2 would be still in the colon?
Stage 2, I think it's just barely breaking
on the
through.
verge. Yeah.
3 is already outside the colon.
And 1 is inside.
Yes, 1 is still inside. It's almost like precancerous because that's what I thought I was dealing with. But he told me at that time I was on a wound vac because my wounds weren't healing, and he told me I cannot start you on chemo. Your wounds need to be healed because I'm going to be trying to kill the cancer cells in your abdomen area and your colon area, and it's going to make it worse for your wounds. So he's like, we're just going to keep checking up on you. And I'm like, but I'm stage 3. And that was stage 3 diagnosed when I had my surgery in April. And he's like, well, we're going to do tests. We're going to make sure it hasn't spread anymore. We can do that through blood tests. We're going to check for you. So I'm like, okay. Well, a couple of weeks after that, I had a friend of mine come and see me. She's a dental assistant. And she said that she was talking to a patient, and the patient had told her about JC Tonic water. And she said her patient had been taking it for her skin because she was younger. She was in her 20s, and she had really bad acne. And she had started.
Oh, I know that. I know the lady. That's the daughter of Amy.
Probably so, because she said that if you had seen this girl's skin, she goes, it's just like her skin is perfect. It's beautiful. And I even told her, I was like, oh my gosh, your skin looks amazing. But then she started telling her the other things and gave her the website and told her, go look at the website, read up, there's testimonials. So she came to see me and she's like, look, you can't start chemo. What can this hurt? She's all like, I'm ordering it for my family.
This is the dental assistant lady.
Yeah, this is the dental assistant lady.
What's her name?
Her name is Cecilia Hinojosa.
Cecilia, I don't recall that name. I try and talk to everybody I can, and it's hundreds of people, but I'll get her. I'll get to talk to her now.
And they told me, start taking this, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start taking it. And I go, what can it hurt? It's worth a try. So I started it, and just from the first couple of days, I could see it removing toxins from my body. First of all, I have an ostomy bag, so I could tell the difference in my stool. And then, my urine was brown, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And it took a few days, and then I went back to normal, but I felt better. And my husband, he has knee problems, and he doesn't have prostate cancer, but he just has an overactive prostate. So I told him, hey,
you mean enlarged?
Enlarged, yes.
Yeah.
So I told him, go ahead and start taking it. So he started.
We have a couple of great testimonials on that as well. I'll send them to you.
Oh, that would be great, because he started taking it the same as me, and he's like, he does not miss out. He's, I have, because it gives me so much energy, I only take it once a day. He does his. He's religiously. He takes his twice a day.
Like you take an ounce a day?
I take an ounce a day. He takes 2 ounces. He takes an ounce in the morning and in the evening, and he's pretty much good. But it was. I started that a little bit, I think, in August, and again, my wound still didn't heal, and I changed colon and rectal doctors, and my new colon and rectal doctor was like, look, your wounds don't look really bad. I'm really good friends with your oncologist. He's like, let me call him, and I'm going to tell him, let's just get this started. So I got a phone call. They told me, can you be here next week? We've got to do some blood work, meet with the doctor, and we'll start your chemo. So I told him, okay, I'll be there. I'm super excited. Kept hearing from all these people. I think you're the only person that I know that's excited for chemo, but like I told him, I just want this journey to end. So when I got to the doctor's office, did my blood work, I was having blood work done here in Corpus as well. I went in to see the doctor, and he's like, okay, I need to talk to you. There's been some changes in your diagnosis. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it spread. I just started thinking the negative. And he's like, your numbers are coming back like your cancer is almost gone. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
And he goes, there's still small numbers. It does look like there's still cancer cells there, but this is not an aggressive cancer. So I'm going to give you a choice. He goes, we can skip chemo, and we just keep checking you, every 6 months, see if this is growing. If it starts growing again, then we'll start chemo, or we knock out chemo now, just kill everything, and more than likely it will not come back.
Boy, that's a refreshing comment from a doctor these days. Most of them don't give anybody the choice. They just go to the chemo.
Oh, he's been wonderful. But I told him I did want to do the chemo. And the only reason I did that was because of the fact that the job that I have, actually my office closed back in August, and I'm out on disability. So I have a great boss, and he's like, you need to stay out as long as you can to get all your health stuff taken care of. And then that way when you come back, my boss doesn't even look like he's going to make it. He's like, if there's not a job available, he's like, at least all your medical's been taken care of. So make sure you stay out and get everything done. So I had told Dr.
You mean his business, he closes?
Yeah, I work with AT&T. AT&T is closing offices all around the country and around the world, and they're consolidating.
Yeah, they're shipping everything to the Philippines, of course.
Exactly. Philippines, India, Colombia, they're sending them everywhere else.
We're
So,
actually a big customer of AT&T, and I'm thinking of just closing our accounts and going with someone else. I can't stand those companies. Those companies that take our money and give it to other countries. I don't go for that,
That's exactly how, I feel. I had, we were always told, you all give great numbers, and if you, push out great numbers for us, you'll be safe. And my team was number one in the country. We were a small team, and they closed us. But they closed not only me, they closed several call centers in the United States and all around. I had a lot of good people that have lost their jobs, and and they're like with me, I still needed 2 more years before I could retire. But to me, it's not worth it to move. All jobs are moving to Dallas. That's 9 hours away, and to me,
but then they'll close that in a few years too.
Yeah, and I'm not uprooting my family for that. I have enough experience and enough money in my 401k and everything else that my kids. My son will graduate this year. My daughter's in college. She only has 1 more year. She graduates with her bachelor's if she wants to go any further. Yeah, so my kids are already older. Yeah. So I'm just staying out until I get all of this done. So I said, let's go ahead and let's do the chemo, because I don't know. That's the one thing is the insurance with AT&T is amazing. So
did that make any difference? You had chemo one time now?
I've had chemo once. Actually, it didn't affect me as bad. It was more fatigue than anything. I had anything that I would eat or I drink a lot of water. So I drink usually room temperature water, but I was putting ice in my water because I carry around a cup, especially during chemo. I said, if I run out of water, I had the ice that was melting. I noticed that anytime I would drink the water that was cold, it felt like pins and needles were going down my throat. And that was one of the side effects the nurses told me. They're like, you're going to have to drink room temperature water, or if you want to drink a certain drink, warm it up, leave it out, drink a juice or anything. I really don't drink juices or anything like that, but they're like, just drink everything room temperature. And so that side effects lasted about for 4 days, and now I'm back to normal, but I have my second round coming this Wednesday. But he did tell me, or my original plan was to have 6 months of chemo. He said there was no need for that. We've cut it down to just 3 months of chemo. So I should be done right around Christmas, and then I wait a month, and then I can have my reversal surgery for my ostomy. But, I have told so many people about this product. I have my dad's sister. She's her early 70s. She's been having a lot of problems with her health, and she won't tell. She really doesn't want too many people to know what she has. So we could just tell physically how she's changed, and her legs were swelling up so bad.
What was
her legs? Her legs.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Her legs were so swollen. My mother told me, they're red, swollen. She couldn't walk. And my mom kept telling her, that could be cirrhosis of the liver. There could be and my aunt sort of just, I'm seeing a doctor. Don't worry. So when I started seeing changes with the tonic water, my mom told her about it. And my mom told her, let's half a bottle. Let's see what it does for you and what it does for me. Because my mom, on the opposite, she has issues with her bowels. She has a hard time going to the bathroom. She's 84. And she's like, let's see how this is going to help me. Both of them, within a couple of weeks, saw a change. Within the first week, my aunt called my mom and said, I don't want to share a bottle. Can you have Marcia order me a bottle?
Good.
Yeah. She's like, my legs aren't swelling. My legs have gone back to the same color, my regular flesh color. She can walk. She's getting out.
After half a bottle?
after half a bottle, well, not even the half a bottle, she had only been using it a week, and she saw the change in a week.
Oh, we got to put the price up. Oh, my God.
Yeah, so, no, you don't want to do that. And she said, she's like, within a week, she saw the difference. So, she's like, okay, every time you order, you need to make sure you get me a bottle. And then, a matter of fact, just yesterday, my parents came by, and because this last order I made the 12 bottles because I have a lot of people that don't like to purchase online or elderly and don't know how to do it. So I told my husband, I'm just going to order 12 bottles because my mom keeps coming back and saying so-and-so wants a bottle and so-and-so wants a bottle. And, that way I have some. So sure enough, my aunt's ex-husband just supposedly went through a kidney transplant. And he told his ex-wife, which was my aunt, the one that with the leg issues, he's like, can you get me a bottle? I want to start taking that.
Wow, that is great.
My mom just took him his bottle yesterday, so that way he could start taking it. I mean, my daughter started taking it for her skin. The only one that I can't get to take it is my 17-year-old because he's all like, no, Mom, that's for you. I don't want to take I said, I can keep ordering it. Don't worry about it. He's like, no, I don't want you spending money on it. I'm fine. Because he has a lot of acne, and he works out a lot and stuff. And then his football helmet is what gets all the acne. But he has a friend. It's the son of the sister that told me about the tonic water. Her whole family's taking it too. She has her son taking it for his acne as well.
Well, the young lady there, the 18-year-old that you said the skin was repaired, get in touch with her and ask your son to talk to, talk to somebody their own age, and they'll believe more.
Maybe I should do that. I'd have to tell Cecilia, hey, can you tell her to call Evan and see if she can get him to do it? Because a matter of fact, in our house we call it the Jesus Christ tonic water instead of JC Tonic water because we just feel that it's done so many.
Marcia, that's what a lot of people have been calling it these last few years, and I started thinking, isn't that strange? We ended up calling it JC, and it's making these miracles happen. Who knows? Maybe there is something to that, So a lot of people are calling it Jesus Christ. Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, you just never know, You just never know.
You don't know because I had tons of prayer requests everywhere going out, and I had so many people praying for me, and I have a lot of faith, but never did I expect to get the news that I got last week. Matter of fact, when I called my family, called my husband, called my parents, and everybody just broke down crying. They just couldn't believe it. And one of my home health nurses, she and I became really good friends because she was visiting me 3 times a week for almost 4 months for my wound care.
Is that the one? Is that the one that we managed to get you to call us? Is
yes,
that the lady?
Karina.
Yeah.
She's a home health nurse, and she's amazing. She has the biggest heart. She's one of those that if you need something, she'd give you the shirt off her back. And when I called her, she was crying, and she's like, "You need to send me that link." She's all like, "I have patients that I want to tell them about this." She's like, "I'm going to order this for my family." And she called me a couple of days later, and she told me she had spoken to Millie, and Millie had given her the number. She's like, I told her I couldn't give you your information because you are a patient, but she's like, if you want to go ahead and give them a call. But, she's now an advocate as well. So I tell you, even my mother, like I said, everywhere I go, I hear her. She'll text me, and she's like, can you send this number to the lake? I'm like, okay. So, and then another thing that it did for me, which really I was like, wow, is I have a concierge doctor. So, he always checks my blood. He's always checking everything for me. And he has just been beating me over the head for the last 2-3 years because I have low iron. My cholesterol had been high. My bad cholesterol had been a little bit high, and he was trying to put me on medication, and I was just like getting so sick from the medication. I wouldn't take it, and he's like, you need to be taking this. So a few weeks ago, he did blood work, and I got a message from his nurse to call, and I called her, and she's like, well, I just want to let you know everything's good. Everything's perfect. So I'm like, okay, well, I was going to see him the following week, so I said, okay.
You mean you were going to start the prescription?
Well, no, the blood work, he was checking for, like, my glucose levels, my kidney function, iron. This is my regular concierge, my PCP. So,
but he wanted to put you on cholesterol medication?
Yeah, well, he did. I just didn't take it. I hadn't been taking it. I would not take it because it would make me sick. That and the iron medication made me sick. He tried different medications, but everything made me sick, and I just like, no, I'll just try eating healthier, and wasn't working. So when I saw him a few weeks ago, I told him, I said, hey, I know you did my blood work, and Debbie called me and said everything's perfect. Can you explain that to me? My iron, my cholesterol, and he's like, it's all good, Marcy. He's like, all your levels are good.
And he said he could not explain it.
Same thing. He asked me, what are you doing? I didn't want to tell him at first because I didn't want him to tell me, don't be taking stuff right now that since you were supposed to be going into chemo. I didn't want to tell him, and I was just like in shock. So right when I got out of the doctor's office, I called my mom, and I told her, I said, Mom, you'll never guess what, because he's her doctor as well. And I told her, Dr. Boynton just told me all of my numbers are good. Even my iron isn't low anymore. I told her my cholesterol is good. He said my kidneys, I don't know how, but he said my kidneys were working at 110%. He was like, wow, your kidney function. He's like, your kidney function is amazing. And he goes, you're doing great. He goes, besides the fact that you have cancer, he's like, your blood work looks great. And so, of course, my parents were like, well, we have one more month and we go get our blood work done. So she wants to see, if it's made any differences with her. With her, she's been super happy that, with her bowels, that it's made a big difference because she would be in pain sometimes, and she was taking fiber, and she was doing so much, and it just didn't work. And
now it's just the tonic, and she's regular now?
And she's regular. She's like, I'm not in pain. I'm regular, and she's a true believer, so she doesn't miss her
she's
tonic
80,
either.
And she's 84.
She's 84. She is 84. So she just put my dad on it because my dad's 75, and she put him on it because, of course, he has high blood pressure. He has certain ailments as well, so she told him it wouldn't hurt for him to start taking it too. And then what it has done for me as well, I don't have much of an appetite. So I've always been an overeater, and I think maybe because of stress, and now it's just like if I'm not hungry, I'm taking protein shakes and making sure I have at least a good full meal a day. And we all see that. Even, my husband and my daughter, we just see our appetites changed, and it's just, we've just seen so many changes in our body for the good, especially because my husband's older than I am. My husband is 61, so he's older than I am. My daughter's 22, but all of us are thriving, and we...
Did you all see a change in weight?
Yes. Not an extreme change yet, but
That's right.
It's like
we're
not... It's like a safe way. It's like, you're just seeing that it's starting to come off because you're not as hungry and you're not snacking through the day, but also, our water intake, we drink. Our family really doesn't drink. I think my husband and my daughter's vice is coffee, but sodas are almost non-existent in our home. It's mainly water and my husband's the only one that drinks Ocean Spray juice, and my son drinks Gatorade Zero because he works out a lot. But our main fluid and hydration is water. That's all we all drink. And I want to say each of us throughout the day, we all have at least 80 to 100 ounces of water a day. So we keep on top of that.
That's really good, yeah.
Mhm.
What a story. That's only the first chapter.
Let's see what happens after my 3 months. I mean, like I said, I'm still on cloud 9, and hearing our news last week, after he gave me that news, they're walking me into chemo, and of course I'm surrounded by all of these people that are sick, and some of them look really bad, and I'm trying to hold back a smile. I can't tell my daughter, because I don't want her to start celebrating in front of all these people. And when we sat down and they hooked me up to everything for chemo, I told her, I'm going to text you something. I said, do not react. And she was like, what is it? When I texted it to her, her face whipped and looked at me so fast, and she had tears in her eyes, and she was like, what? Are you serious? I said, yes. I said, just wait till, when we get out, I'll be calling everybody. I'm calling your dad, I'm calling your grandparents. My dad,
because they just told you that before you started the chemo. They just finished the blood work, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it was right before I started the chemo, and like I said, he had given me the option. You can either not take the chemo and let's see if it grows, or you can take the chemo, but we're going to, instead of 6 months of chemo like what we thought you were going to have, you're only going to have to do 3 months every other week.
Well, if I can talk to you a little bit about that, we, of course, are not doctors. We don't advocate anything against doctors' recommendation, but, chemo is a killer, and it kills everything else in the body, in the blood as well. And if you're on the road to better health, do you not feel maybe you should forego the chemo and wait and see a bit?
Well, because of the fact that I don't know if I'll have insurance, I didn't want to do that. That's the only reason that I opted to do the 3 months for the 6 rounds.
Especially if the doctor gave you the option.
You sound like my mom. My mom told me the same thing. She told me the same thing. She's all like,
well, I'm amazed, and I'm pleased, and I'm happy that a doctor actually gave somebody maybe they do it in other places, I just haven't heard, but it makes me hopeful that doctors are beginning to see that the chemo really is hard on a body, and unless it's absolutely essential, necessary, to give somebody the opportunity to see if they can get well on their own, because in point of fact, as you read through the material that we have, you'll see that Dr. Mowry in particular on our website, he mentioned that he's really never seen something strengthen the immune system as much as the tonic does. And if your immune system is super strong, I'll be 86 in another month, and I still don't take any systemic meds. I still have the energy of a 50-year-old or maybe a 60-year-old sometimes on a tired day. I still look at least maybe 10 years younger than my age, maybe more. Still, all the faculties work properly, and all the blood work is balanced, and it's got to be because I've been drinking this, and I never get colds. And we have people who've been drinking this for 30 and 40 years. They never get colds any longer as well.
Wow.
And that's got to do with the immune system, So obviously your immune system was boosted to the point that it was able to fight back the cancer cells. And if you have the stage 3 that you were talking about, that's pretty serious.
It
is. And if
is.
your body's able to fight back to the point of what your doctor said, I just thought it maybe not a bad idea to give it a try for another 2 or 3 months, because if it gets any worse in 2 or 3 months, it's not going to make much difference whether you had the chemo today or in 3 months if it gets worse, But I understand your point about the insurance.
Our insurance.
Chemo kills everything in your body, and the road back is really, really hard for a person to do.
Because I didn't have to have chemo with my breast cancer. I was lucky with that. I had
no radiation either. No radiation.
No, I had radiation. That was a long process of getting back. I mean, that would have been great to have the tonic water back then, because it knocked me off my feet at least for a couple of years to get my energy back. And back then, like I said, it was 12 years ago. My daughter was 10. My son was 6. My kids were young.
Energy.
I needed my energy then, exactly. And I would have my family. I had my extended family would come and pick up the kids to take them out and do stuff, because I had no energy at all especially after the radiation. And the radiation, I was doing radiation during my lunch hour at work and then going back to work. So I think I did radiation for 3 months, and it wasn't until like the last 3 weeks of my radiation that it had burned through my skin so bad that I was in a lot of pain that I finally took some time off of work. But even my employees, they were just like totally like, why are you coming in after your radiation? I'm like, I'm fine. It doesn't hurt. I'm fine. I just made sure that I was drinking water, and I was, I'm always on my toes at work. So, I mean, even my employees, even though that my office closed and I've had a lot of people that no longer are working, some moved to other jobs in other cities, we still keep in touch. We have a group text for my old employees. I sent them the news, and they just went nuts. They were like, this is crazy. How? And I already have one of my employees, I had already called and told her about it when I was taking it in August, because she's huge on health, and she was diabetic, and she's been able to turn that around. Her sugar levels have gone down. She does intermittent fasting. She does every so often. She goes vegan, and then she'll go back, but she doesn't eat a lot of red meat.
Now with the tonic, she won't have to do all that.
Yeah, so I told her about the tonic, and she's all like, I'm just going to give it a try. And when I had texted my team and told them what happened, she texted me on the side. She's like, I just want to tell you, I'm already on my second bottle of tonic. She's like, I ordered more. She goes, I really like that it's working. So yeah, I'm telling you, it has been a miracle for us, and it has done so much for my family, and we're shouting it from the rooftops that not only with God, but our Jesus Christ tonic water is also helping.
Fantastic. This is such great news. The mission has always been first with this product. My dad started, actually, he developed it. He started working on it in the 20s and 30s. In 1943, he started to commercialize it, and it was just by a fluke, because he'd been making small batches, giving it to people, but in the end he couldn't afford to do it anymore, so he started charging a bit. And by 1945, it was such a going concern. He had to form a company, and at the time I was like 45. I was 8 years old. At that time, he had just built us a new house, and we had a great playroom. He ended up converting the playroom to his manufacturing, and the garages, he had one for the warehouse and one for the bottling, and people were driving up and filling their cars full of this stuff. And I was watching all this happen through my lifetime, and so I just sort of took it for granted. And I started drinking it when I was 11, because I started getting some pimples, and it was getting pretty acne looking. And I told Dad, what'll I do? He said, drink the preparation. He had this kind of thick Germanic accent, And so when I started drinking it, the pimples disappeared in 3 months. In 6 months, all the skin that I had made craters in was clear. And the young lady you're talking about, it seems the same thing. I talked to her mother, Amy Hill, and the first time she called, she said just the fact that she was 18 years old, and she was getting them on her back, on her face, all over, and now she's clear, and she just started university, and oh, what a change in her life. No kidding, I said. I went through exactly the same thing. I was 11, I started figuring out what girls were, and I was embarrassed with these pimples, and so I said, I know exactly the feeling. So, yeah, I just decided to stay on it. I guess it gave me some brain power, and I think I know over the years it's kept me in much better health than most 80 or 85-year-olds, But you're seeing that, and it'll repair and regenerate, and it'll just get better and better. There was a fellow probably at least 15 years ago in Corpus around there that had a cholesterol level of 600. And there's a great JC Tonic member in Dallas. He used to live in Robstown, and this was his best friend, and he got him to drink the tonic. In 3 months, it went from 600 to 300. And,
wow.
That's a miracle. And with those kind of really measurements, sugar and cholesterol stuff up in those numbers, you're on death's doorstep,
Mhm. And like I said, we've seen a total different change for the good, and we don't miss taking our tonic water. It's like even sometimes in the morning we're like, did you take your tonic water? Yes, we've already taken it, and after we eat breakfast, we'll remember. And but everybody, we're all on top of it, and like
everything changes in your body. Everything gets better and better and better. And your weight that you mentioned that's changing, this is done through the rebalancing of your metabolism. This is not because there's some stimulant in there that starts to reduce your desire for food. It's a rebalancing of the body in general, but when the metabolism starts to rebalance, if you're overweight, you'll lose weight. If you're underweight, you'll gain weight. And we have people who are downright skinny, and now they have a few extra pounds. They're in heaven as well because they look better, they feel better, and they are better, because they're at the weight that they're supposed to be now. And so it'll rebalance you and continue doing that, and your children, and we got to get your son him to get that young lady to get that young lady to talk to him. Hey, maybe there'll even be a romance there. You never know.
Oh, he just got himself. That's so funny because he just got himself a girlfriend this year, and last night she was talking to me about skincare and everything, and I was telling her about the tonic. And
well, tell him my acne story at 11 years old, and that young lady who at 18, that's about his age, and starting school. All those things are important for youngsters to look and feel their best. And when you have acne, I don't care who you are, it's a tough one with your peers,
Yeah, and even my daughter, she saw that it just within a few days, because my mom's like telling her, Evie, you've only been taking it a few days. She goes, but they're going away. But she does a lot of her skincare. She has her regime and everything, but she was still getting pimples. And I think, too, I read how it sort of helps balance stress and anxiety and everything, and I think that's where her pimples were coming from.
Well,
stress and anxiety and all of that.
The thing that folks don't understand, I mean, there's a whole industry called dermatology to repair skin from the outside. There is no way in heaven that you can do it. It's from the inside. Something is wrong inside. That's why the poisons and toxins start going up and eventually come up to the epidermis, and you'll get psoriasis, acne, any skin. It has to come from the inside. It is not a skin problem. It only manifests itself on the skin. So if you clean up the inside of the body, it's going to dry up everything that's being pushed out to the skin, and that's what's happening with your daughter. That has happened so quickly because those changes, especially when you're a youngster, your body will start to repair itself and regenerate itself much more quickly. When I was 11 years old, my skin repaired itself in 6 months. You couldn't even tell that I had craters in there a year before.
Wow. Well, I'm definitely going to tell him that story.
Tell him that story. You'll get a copy of this recording. Let him listen to it. But tell him, do it. And if he doesn't like the taste, they can mix it in anything they want. It doesn't matter. I remember one lady called, she said, my husband comes home, he works hard, and he starts taking his whiskey around 5 o'clock or something. By 6 o'clock, he's drunk, and he's mean to me, and he screams at me. She says, will this work? Will it change him? I said, yeah, it will. But I said, I don't know how long, how much. I said, you'll work with it. She said, okay. So she bought a bunch of bottles, called me a couple of weeks later. She said, it's not working. I said, well, what do you mean? Well, she said, he won't take it. Well, I said, look, that's a different story. But I said, you got to figure out something. She called me back about a month later, and she told me he's nice as pie. I said, how did you do it? She said, I took his whiskey bottle, and I emptied half of it, and I put half of the tonic, and he didn't even realize it, and he's been drinking it every day when he drinks his booze.
That is fun, but
isn't that a good story?
Even like with me and my daughter, I think my mom and my dad, we just take it like a shot. To me, the taste doesn't bother me. My husband's the only one that mixes it in his coffee, or he'll mix it into a juice or something. But the rest of us, we just take the full shot. Like my daughter told me, she goes, sort of tasted like a medicine at first, but not a strong medicine. But she goes, it's not anything that like makes you gag or anything. So
we've had
one and done.
Well, we've had some batches that will make you gag. We don't do anything to modify the taste. The herbs come the way they come. The extracts are made. Sometimes they're far more bitter than other times, and so on. And with 18 of them, they all have a different taste and a different color. So the color will change, the taste will change. And most companies, they put like caramel color or sugar, something to change and make it uniform that you never notice those differences. But we just left them, and we handle the phone calls when they come in. So you'll see it from time to time change color or taste. Mix it with something if that's the case. But that's good that youngsters don't find it a terrible taste. That's good. But,
it doesn't at all. And we had read that every single bottle could be different, because when we were all starting our bottles, between Cecilia, that nurse, and her sister, who's a nurse as well, the dental assistant, and then the other one's an orthopedic nurse, those sisters had ordered their bottles together, and one sister said that her bottle, she goes, I really couldn't taste anything. And the other sister said, mine had a little bit of a taste. But then she's like, we read everything, and it said that, it's all natural, and because it's all natural, sometimes you'll see a different color or the taste will change, but everything is coming from the same natural ingredients, and it's never going to be the same taste, so you just never know. But with me and my family, we haven't had any issues taking it at all. The taste does not bother us at all.
That is great. Some people they can liken it to if they have a garden. One year in July their tomatoes are ripe and red and rosy, and the next year they might be sort of yellowish and but they're still a tomato.
Yep. They'll taste just as good. They all taste like tomatoes, just like this tonic water is working for us, and you have lifetime customers with us.
Well, I'm going to ask you about that before we ring off, if you can get all these names of all these people you're talking to, because there are a lot of people ordering, and we don't know who referred them, and we have a little reward plan for referrals. I don't know if you know about it, but we'll get that explained to you as well. And it's just, if people are not going to be an ambassador of health, which is a distributor, but they're sharing it, well, there's a retail discount program where every bottle you share, you get a $5 discount. So let everybody earn some discounts, and whoever's referring to whoever. So if we got all those names, we could organize all that and get those credits done. Like the nurse referred it to you. So we would like to be able to give her a discount on her next purchase. And some people have so many people that they've referred it to that they actually drink their own product totally free, because there's enough credits all the time that when they order, they don't even have to pay for it.
Oh, well, I'll definitely get you all the names, because I have tons of people. I have tons of people that are ordering, but then too, like I said, I have people that can't order online, so I'm just ordering. I said to my husband, I'm just going to start ordering this 12 bottles.
Well, are you charging them the price? You're just charging them the price you pay, or what do you do?
Yeah, I just charge them the price that I pay, and to me, it's a good thing, because it's making a difference for them and it's helping them out. My parents, because of their age, they do not like anything like Amazon, buying anything online. They don't put their credit card online. They don't do online banking, nothing like that. So it's like my brother and I are the ones that do all of that for them. So, I just...
Well, in your case, give us the names. We'll give you a couple of free bottles from time to time for your reward system. So we do that. It's not that don't bother. We just do it. We do it for everybody, and so let's do it for you as well.
Well, I'll get you those names. Just have her call me, and I'll get all those names together.
Make a list, and we'll have Mrs. Claus call you.
Thank you so much, Anthony. It was a pleasure talking to you. And again, thank you for everything you've done. And, thanks to your father for creating this product, because it works. And, I feel that there's good things to come. And the way I see it is I won't have to worry about cancer again. If it did this, I don't have to worry about anything in the future. So we shall see.
I agree with you, and I'm so delighted it worked for you, and even more delighted that you're paying it forward, because that's one of our bylines. Please pay it forward, help thy neighbor, because this country is sick to death. It's just like it's criminal how the food companies are poisoning people. The drug companies don't seem to be doing too much for them, and everybody's withering away and complaining, and there seems to be no reason for it except man-made. And so we're doing our part, and I do believe that if there are enough people like you doing what you're doing and spreading the word, you might see some of the hospitals with some empty beds rather than full beds. It'll work for everybody with everything. Have you seen our weekly newsletter email?
I don't think so.
Okay, so have a look. It may be in your junk box, but there is a weekly newsletter. If you scroll all the way down at the bottom, there are success stories, links, and you just click on them, and you can, and they're all categorized, like blood sugar, blood pressure, mental problems, reproductive problems. And so if you have friends who are in any of those categories, a lot of people today won't take the time to read or look or listen, but if you send them only just copy and paste the link in an email or a text to them about their problem, and they listen to it, they're no doubt going to call you and say, look, I'll try a bottle, how do I get it? And keep track of all the folks that you're talking about and put them on that list and make sure we know. And we'll look after them and make sure whoever refers them gets a little credit towards their next purchase.
Well, it's interesting that you just said about the sugar levels and stuff, because I just had somebody text me yesterday and asked me that one question. She said, I really need to get my sugar levels down. She's like, does it work on that? And I said, it's worth a try. And she's like, can you check? So I'm going to tell her.
Sugar,
I heard directly.
There's a fellow that we just talked to a few weeks ago. Back in June I talked to him, and his sugar level was up at like 600, and it's down to 300 already in a month after he started drinking it. And we have those testimonials in that newsletter. If you don't find that newsletter, please call me or just text me back, and I'll make sure that we get that over to you ASAP. And those are exactly what people need. It's not the whole story like they're going to hear this story, you and I. It's just the testimonial. I had high blood sugar. I was on medication. I took the tonic 3 weeks later, 3 months later. I'm not on medication. My numbers went down. Things like that, just to give people a little bit of confidence that just maybe if it worked for those folks, it'll work for them as well. So have a look, and if you don't find it, let me know, and we'll make sure you get it. It's a great tool to use to help out everybody around you.
All righty. I sure will. And it was such a pleasure, like I said. Great talking to you. Thank you for everything you're doing, and I will get that list, and I will keep continuing yelling it from the mountaintops.
Okay, you do that. Get that soapbox in Hyde Park, stand on it, yell it from the mountaintop and everywhere. Make sure your son talks to that young lady. Get that thing going and call me on this number anytime. It's my direct number. The 702 is my direct number. I get back to everybody within a day or two, so call me if you got something that you need me to talk to anybody, because that's all I do now. I don't have to worry about administration and operations. I just talk to people about the tonic and try and set them straight and answer their questions and get the next person on. So
that is amazing, and I'll take you up on that for sure.
Well, you can give my phone number to anybody you want who is doubting Thomasia or Thomas. You just tell them, leave a message for Anthony that you said to call, and I'll call them back, and I get back to them within a day or two, and I'll answer all their questions and try and set them on the right road and explain what they need to have explained to get them to use it. So I do that all day long, so don't be shy.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you, Anthony. Well, you have a great weekend, and thank you for calling me.
Me too. You too. Are you in Corpus? Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There was a lot of activity in Corpus, and I was asking Home Office, I said, who are all these people? Well, we phone there. Everybody gets a phone call at some point. How did you hear about us? And we try and hook them up with the person, but they seem to be coming in fast from the Corpus area, and I knew something's happening. Now I know why. Okay, so
it's
wow.
Letty, Cecilia, and Marcia. Marcia.
Well,
all three of us are like telling everybody about it. So
what a team. Who's Letty? who is Letty?
Letty Rivera. She is Cecilia Hinojosa's sister. She's the other nurse. So that both of them are the ones that have, really, they were the ones telling me, you got to take it, you got to take it, you got to. And a matter of fact, I had ordered after them when they finally convinced me just to do it. And Letty came to my house because she had just gotten her order, and she's like, here's a bottle. When you get your bottles, you just pay me back with one of your bottles. I need you to start taking it today. So I told her, okay. So, I mean, we've all been helping each other out, and, everybody that we've all three of our kids have been friends since they were 3 years old, and they're all graduating this year. So, a matter of fact, we met up with one of the other mothers that her daughter's also graduating, but she's at a different school than our kids. And we started telling her about it, and she's all like, I'm ordering it. Because Cecilia started telling her the whole story about the girl and everything. And I recently talked to her, and she's Criselda Cisneros, and she told me, I ordered. And I'm like, okay, we're telling everybody. So you'll see stuff coming from Kingsville, Corpus. We've told people, and my family in Houston. I'm telling everybody. So
this is really great. Really thank you and appreciate it. And we'll look after everybody. Get that list together, and we'll make sure everybody is taken care of.
Will do. Thank you, Anthony.
Pleasure. Me too. You too. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Well, isn't that something else? Ladies and gentlemen, wow, what a lot of great stuff we learned tonight. You can apply this to your family, your friends, your loved ones, everybody around you. They all are hurting. They all need the youth solution. Get more information from your sponsor, from your upline, from the person who introduced you to JC Tonic, or call 1-800-JC Tonic. We will send you an email with lots of great information and get you started on the road to better health. Okay? So here I am once again, still, I guess now I'm 86 years old, and I will be doing this for, another 15 years, maybe 14, and then that's it. So I look forward to seeing you again on the next call. This call, of course, will be emailed to everybody. If you do not have an email with us, send it right away. You can text it to 702-482-5290. Area code 702-482-5290. 5290. And we will include you on the mail out. You just click on the attachment on the link and you'll be able to play it for your family and others that you think need to hear it. Okay? Thanks a lot. We will see you soon. Don't forget, take an ounce and feel the bounce.
JC Tonic is a natural drink filled with 18 herbs that will change your life. They work together to restore your energy, detoxify your bloodstream, and purifies your entire system.
Urac Classic Whole Body Tonic is a dietary supplement, not a drug. Therefore, it is useful to affect the structure and or function of your body in various ways. But it is not intended to and will not cure, mitigate, treat, or prevent any disease. Individual testimonials may not be representative of everyone's experience and do not constitute scientific evidence. Urac Corporation does not make any drug or treatment claims for its